Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the third of three stakes races at Belmont on Saturday. Race number 9, 1 mile on the Widener turf. 2-year-olds compete for a $100,000 purse in the Awad Stakes. Remember that you can bet this salty Belmont card as well as next week's Breeders' Cup 2-day extravaganza with a DRF Bets account. Deposit $150 with DRF Bets. Bet with $300. Learn more at drf.com/bet. Here's the field for this year's edition of the Awad Stakes. The two Irish Mias just won the Laurel Futurity for Graham Motion, square 6-1 on the morning line. You've got Tiesto at 7-2. Winner for Bill Mott in the debut, cost a lot of money. Get Smoking for Tom Bush at 9-2. Nice winner when stretched out for the first time. Lots of familiar faces from Belmont and Saratoga here with these 2-year-olds. Awfully tough to project a true pace scenario, but they say that the 8, Get Smoking, and when I mean they, I mean Timeform US, the pace projector has Get Smoking out there on the lead. I wouldn't be surprised if someone tries to wrest it away from him.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I think the pace is pretty tough to project in this race. There's some speed towards the inside. You have horses, drawn out wide who might want to get forward. Certainly Get Smoking was close to a pretty quick pace last time, so I can see him being forward too, Dan. It's sort of a wide open race.
Noble Emotions, the number 1 in here. This one just went gate to wire, going 6 furlongs at Belmont against New York Reds. We'll take a look at that race right now. Went quick the first quarter mile, did Noble Emotion, and as they swing into the stretch, he's got the lead, and he's going to dig in to fend off the closers. I thought all in all it was a good performance as he was cutting back 2.5 furlongs. Now he's got to stretch out again, and he might be one of the main protagonists from a pace standpoint.
Yeah, maybe he will. We'll see how they decide to play it as he stretches back out. That pace from that last race, the one we're watching now, looks quick. What really was not. They didn't go that fast early in there. All in all, he got a great trip on the lead. He held on at the end. And that was off a cutback. When they debuted him around 2 turns at Saratoga, I don't know. He got a good trip in that race and didn't run that well. But maybe he can improve.
I really liked Irish Mias' debut in an off-the-turf race at Saratoga early in the Spa meet. I mean, he must have broke 2-3 lengths slow, made this big inside move on the far turn, angled outside, and was second best to another Miracle, who is now a stakes-winning turf sprinter. He won his maiden last time out in the Laurel Futurity. We'll take a look at that race right now. They stretched him out for the first time. He is certainly bred to handle it. This is a New Jersey bred who's going to shoot up the inside. He got the right trip in this race.
He did get a good trip. He also ran pretty well, though. I like that he was able to hold that position and just sort of, work his way through on the inside. He gets clear very late. He takes over. I like this performance from him. And I'm with you, Dan. I thought his debut was really good. I was disappointed a little bit in the second start, but I felt like he ran well last time, first time turf.
Tiesto is a Tis Now colt that sold for $600,000, turned over to Bill Mott, made his debut going 1 mile and a 16th. And we'll take a look at that race. He was basically in a 3-wide stalking trip throughout. He is a big horse, and it takes him some while to get going. Here he is on the black cap on the outside. He's going to grind by these horses, and once he gets to the front, he finishes the race off very nicely. I wonder if actually longer distances are going to be in his future down the road, but it was a nice debut. He was the right price that day, and he fits in this spot.
He does. He was good in this race. Once he finally took it over, he got away very nicely late in the race. I thought he ran really well. I guess the real question is, how short a price do you want? Not just on him, on anybody in this race. He is the morning line favorite. And if they bet it that way, it might be tough to take him right back, but he looks like he's going to be pretty good.
Pixelate's a Godolphin homebred, a son of City Zip, who scored a maiden race at Arlington Park over Yielding going last time out. The Fig came back light. I think he did some good things. You could tell that he's still kind of learning the game, but you get the feeling that maybe there's something there where he's the kind of horse that can take a big jump overnight on a buyer scale.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel that way about both of his turf races, actually. The final time figures were slow, but you also have to realize that the paces were really slow in those races. I thought he ran well in his turf debut, where he just really couldn't make up any ground on a couple of horses who sort of walked in front of him. He won very easily last time, and I was pretty impressed with that run. He seems like the kind of horse who could get a good trip in this race.
Usually don't like the progeny of Union Rags on the turf, but the 5 Talking was a debut winner going 2 turns on the sod at Monmouth. Got a nice trip up close to a slow pace, kicked on home. They got a little ambitious last time out in the Grade 1 Summer. The horse was not embarrassed at all, especially considering a yielding turf course, and it's nice to know he has 2 route races to build foundation for this, and a slight forward move puts him in the mix.
Absolutely. He ran pretty well last time. He wasn't quite good enough to go with those horses. But as you say, he did not get embarrassed in that race. I thought he actually ran pretty well. This race is still a stakes race, but it's not as tough as the one he just ran in.
No doubt about that. The 6 is No Lime, who made his turf debut for Mott back on September the 28th. That was the Grade 3 Pilgrim. It was a pretty tough spot. He faltered late. Do you have really any true excuse for that effort?
No, I mean, he hasn't really, to me, run that well in any of his races so far. So to me, he was pretty hard to make in this race.
The 7 Polar Bear Pete made his career debut sprinting over a sloppy track in a maiden claimer, and he won very easily for an underrated trainer in Eddie Barker. He continues to work quickly, as this is going to be his turf and route debut. It's kind of a tough spot. He has some distance in his pedigree. It's an average turf pedigree, I would say.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it, too. I mean, I guess the positive as far as switching to turf is, it's not like he has a huge pedigree for dirt either, and he won very easily first time out, so maybe he's just good.
Get Smokin' ran okay in his career debut. Then he exploded when allowed to stretch out from 5.5 to a mile last time out. Now, this was one of those maiden auction races. It's a maiden special weight, but remember, it's restricted for horses that were purchased or an RNA for $45,000 or less in their most recent sale. Get Smokin' sold for $11,000 as a yearling. This horse was on a hard chase early. There was a loose pace setter who went fast. He sat second. He made the first move. He made the lead. I thought all in all, he ran really well in this race. And Time From US believes he can get the lead. I think if he doesn't get the lead, he's going to get a similar trip as last time.
Yeah, I agree with that. He has really good tactical speed, and he's actually run well in both of his starts. I don't have any knocks on this horse either. He ran well, and here the horse that he's holding off there for second came back and won his next start, and he won it pretty easily. I don't have any knocks on this horse, Dan.
The 9 is By Land and Sea, and I know you're a big fan of this horse. He ran really well in his debut at Saratoga on the Pennsylvania Derby undercard. They put blinkers on this horse for his 2-turn debut going 7.5. He just ran away and hid from this field. They turn into the stretch. The race is all but over at this point. By Land and Sea, forwardly placed throughout, just dominates this field. 69 Buyer's speed figure. Wouldn't be surprised if he takes another forward move. And it was nice to see him get closer to the pace as he stretches out. I think a good 3-wide tracking trip is coming here.
I agree. He just looks like a horse who has some quality to him. He's run really well in both of his starts, and they're going to ship him back in here now to run in a stakes race in New York. He's got plenty of pedigree. He goes for a good trainer. He's got tactical speed. There's a lot to like here.
Perhaps Don Juan Kitten will attempt to make the lead, the number 10. He has an aggressive rider in Kendrick Carmouche. He received a very clever ride in his debut at a big price under Manny Franco. There was no pace going on. In that 1-mile race, they went the half mile in 50-4. Don Juan Kitten set the pace, turned into the stretch, and really no surprise. He had plenty left to hold off these maidens.
Yeah, he got a really good trip in this race where he just sort of took over early and they just let him go as slow as he wanted on the lead. You can see he still has something left here in the stretch. There's going to be a 4 or 5 horse photo behind him for the leftovers, and they just can't get near this horse. We'll see if he can back it up, Dan. I don't really want to knock him because he did what he had to do first time out. I just feel like it's going to be a lot harder for him in this race.
Me and Mr. C is the 11, and he completes the field, and he won around 2 turns in his debut at Delaware. Kind of slow time, only a 56 buyer. I thought he did some good things last time out when they cut him all the way back to a 1-turn sprint at Laurel. We'll turn to the stretch of that Howard County Stakes, and he's just far, far behind here, and he's going to make a good late run. He's not even in the picture. He'll come with a good late run to finish second behind So Street, who looks like he has a little bit of potential. I wouldn't sleep on this barn. This is a very underrated barn that can pop at a price. I don't really think it's going to matter for this horse if it's 5.5 or a mile. It appears he has no early speed whatsoever.
Yeah, we'll see what happens here as they stretch him back out. I was surprised they cut him back in this race. He actually runs well. You can see him getting up for second there. That's not a bad performance at all. I thought his debut was good at Delaware Park. I don't know if he was beating anything. To me, he got a very indecisive ride in that race and overcame it to win pretty easily. He looks like he's got some quality, as you say, for a dangerous trainer. He's got a very sneaky pedigree, too. I'm using this horse at a price.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the $100,000 Awad Stakes. Mike, you like the 4 Pixelate. He's going to be a good price, even though he's shown some quality, simply because his buyer speed figures are slow. But I think the point you made is very, very important. It's tough to run fast figs when there's no pace to attack.
Yeah, we'll see if he can improve because he does have to improve. It just feels like that kind of race, Dan. I felt like it was so wide open. I didn't really want too short a price on anyone. And I feel like he's going to be a good one. And I do like his 2 turf races. I think he ran well both times. So if he can get the right trip, maybe he's a contender at a price. I put him on top, and I went 4, 9, and 11.
I went with the 3 Tiesto. I'm disappointed at his price on the morning line. I'd hoped he'd be a little bit higher than that. This to me is a very wide open race and a spread race in any kind of multiple race wagers. I do like Tiesto. I think he's a really well built, big purchase, a big auction purchase horse. I like him a lot in here. I'm going to go with him. I'm going to go with the 8 Get Smoking. I like the things he did in his debut. I went 3, 8, 10, and 9 in the $100,000 Awad. It's one of 3 stakes at Belmont on Saturday. Bet them all with a DRF Bets account. Deposit $150. Bet with $300. Learn more at drf.com/bet. Approximate post time for the Awad, 5:13 Eastern. Good luck.